what I'm hoping for everybody who just joined us is that this will be 20, 25 minutes well spent, and that when you leave this meeting, when you leave this workshop in 25 minutes, you're glad that you did it. And what I'm also hoping, most importantly, is that you'll find this information important enough that you're going to be wanting to share it with the people you love, because it's really, really important information. And I want you to know I worked hard creating this workshop. This is maybe only the second time I've ever done it. I might be a little rusty, except some of the workshops I've done hundreds and hundreds of times. This is a new one. But please be with me, keep your minds open and keep your hearts open. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have a question for everybody. What in our lifestyles are killing us as a society? What are the things that how people live that are hurting them?
Sedentary lifestyle.
Oh, Kathy said a sedentary lifestyle. I think she saw this workshop already. Is there anything else? Victor, can you think of anything?
Well, I'm thinking of chemicals like air pollution.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add? Yeah.
Diet.
Diet. So again, toxicity is the food that we eat, right? You have anything to add, Jen? You don't have to.
I was thinking of looking at the screens all the time.
Right. And we're going to be talking about that for sure today. Bob, can you talk or hear us? Bob Muley?
I can hear you, but I don't know what. Can
Oh,
you
I
hear
can
me?
see you.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to ask everybody to, I want you to sit, maybe if you have a pen and paper close by, and just count the hours that you sit all day. Just think about it. How many hours do you sit for work? And if you don't sit for work, or like Victor, if you don't work, or two retired guys, oh, and Bob too.
I can't stand that long, remember?
That's right. You can't stand that long. I remember that. But try to get an idea how many hours you sit during the day, and then once you're done with your work, how much you sit at night. I'm lucky with this one. But I get home, I'm on my butt, that's for sure. Anybody want to share that information? Jen, have you figured it out?
Yeah, I mean, I sit practically most of the day. I mean, for all my meals, driving. The only
Right.
time I don't sit is when I'm standing up painting, which is a good like 4 or 5 hours a day. But the rest of it, I'm really sitting.
The rest of the time is sitting. But at least you're standing for 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot more than a lot of people, actually.
Right. Well, before this year, I used to go to an office and sit. I used to drive to the office and sit in the chair pretty much all day.
All day, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've got you beat. I used to sit on a bulldozer all day.
Yeah, that counts, sitting in a bulldozer.
That's why my back is a wreck.
And guess what? My slideshow's not working. Yeah, hold on. Let me, I'm going to stop the share for a second. All right. And then I'm going to do it again and see. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's hope. I don't know why that won't be working.
We can see it now.
Yeah, but I want to, that's not the actual, I might have to, oh! All right, so now, the question I have, all right. Is our lifestyle hurting or helping us? And what we're looking for is connection between our lifestyle and our longevity. And what I want to say right now is our health, the quality of our life, and how long we live is all due to the choices that we make in our lives. It's up to us to make the right choices. All right? If we want to live a better and longer life, we need to sit less. Sitting is killing us. Sitting is becoming, it's like the new smoking. So when we look at this chart, now it's interesting when we say sedentary. Sedentary actually counts sleeping, all right? Sleeping's not bad, sleeping's good. We need our rest. The problem is that most people are spending almost the whole rest of the day sleeping, sedentary, and maybe standing, maybe up 3 hours out of their waking hours. So 21 hours sitting on our butts or laying down.
Well, that's bad.
That's bad, right? Oh, Diane, we could hear you now. 3 hours a day of being up, being active. Something sound wrong with that picture with you?
Yes.
We have the ability to make better choices and improve our lifestyle. And it's only up to us. So here, this is a chart that just looks at what most people are doing. Hours and hours on the television, hours on the internet, listening to the radio, reading magazines. It's the media, it's the time that people are spending on media that's really just killing them. And that, and that's a question too. It's a big question that I have, and I see with me, and I see with my family, that media is such a way of distracting ourselves from the present moment, and not really being with ourselves, but being with our family. So then the question again is, not only is it killing us because we're sitting so much, but what does it do to our relationships, and what does it do to our emotional life and our peace of mind? So here we're looking at people spending 500 minutes, which is, 500 minutes is 8 hours, 8 hours a day. 300 minutes is 5 hours a day. It's still a whole lot. We're watching our lives going by while we're staring at a screen. Again, this is just another statistics here of time spent in front of the media. And our children are suffering from this the most, and how it's affecting their bodies, the level of obesity right now with our children, and God, what it must be doing to their minds, and how it affects them socially,
And their posture.
their posture. And as a child, as a parent of a 13-year-old boy, that battle to keep him off the computer all day, especially with COVID now, it's been rough. hard. I know, Peter has a 12-year-old boy, right? 11
Yep.
years old. And it's just, it's what the kids do. But what's it doing? What's it doing to our children? And what's the future of our world if this is how our children are growing up? So what happens when we sit for 9.5 hours a day? Just at work, right? Peter, you're talking about posture. But this posture is affecting people in a horrible way. Neck pain affects 10% of the world population. Extra 2 hours, hold on. Extra 2 hours of sitting a day is an 8% increase of colon cancer, one study.
Who would ever think that?
Well, you think if you're sitting on your butt all the time, right?
Right.
Joint pains affect 30% of US adults. Listen, a joint needs to move and be lubricated. And when it's not being used, it just breaks down. 25% of women and 15% of men have visible varicose veins. That's not good. All right. Back pain. There we go, of course. Sedentary people are 200% more likely to have heart problems. Now think about this. When you look at this guy's posture, and we really get into it in the TechNet workshop, can you see how all that weight is just coming down on his shoulders and his chest? Don't you think that would affect his breathing? All that
Yeah, everything.
stress on the chest is affecting the heart,
Digestive too.
digestion. It's like the whole body shutting down. Whole body shutting down. And, I've had such a, what I've seen with people since this whole COVID thing, with people spending more and more time, right, in front of the computer, it's horrible. This is an interesting study. So how important is sleep to every single one of you? Tell me.
Very important. Extremely.
Yeah.
What happens when you're not sleeping well? How does that affect the quality of your life?
Well, you can't handle things right. You're much more inclined to sit. You're much more inclined to eat wrong.
True.
Chance of getting hurt.
Anybody else? What happens when you haven't had a good night's sleep? How do you feel?
Or irritable.
Irritable. And how does that affect your relationship?
I don't know. I'll have to ask my ex-wife.
That was a good one.
That's right. Irritable, can't concentrate. All right. You basically not functioning well. All right. You're just not functioning. It's like the life force is drained out of you. So, it's interesting here. This is a study done. The more people spend sitting, the worse their sleep is. It affects the quality of their life. This is from the Huffington Post. Source is the National Sleep Foundation. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is it, if you're sitting all the time, are you just resting too much to actually get tired enough to get a quality sleep?
I think that must be part of it, but it's also affecting your joints and your viscera. So, nothing, your blood hasn't flown.
Right.
Everything is just stagnated.
What was her question?
Well, Kathy said, is it because, you haven't used enough energy, that you have so much energy that you can't sleep good, that's part of it. But it's just, your viscera, everything's stagnant. Your blood hasn't flown. You haven't sweated. You haven't, nothing's moving. you know, you're just a blob. Real, you know? So when you lay down, you're just like, you know, it affects your circulation and your respiration, everything. And again, yeah, you're not tired the same way. You're tired, like more mentally tired, just like cranky tired instead of that feeling like when you've been physically active all day.
Mhm.
When you lay down, you're just like, oh yeah, that feels good to lay down to rest. I'm so lucky. And I picked being a chiropractor without realizing it because I can't sit. So
Mm.
I was very lucky that I picked a profession that I'm moving all day. So this is from the Mayo Clinic, Arizona State University. You could read it yourself. All right. I have another study here that I'm going to read to you. Let me just pull it out of the pile of papers here. Another one, increased risk of 34 chronic diseases, including obesity, diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. This is from a University of Wisconsin Medical School, 2011. Over here, people who sit 6 hours or more die earlier than those who sit 3 hours a day. Are more overweight, are 47% more likely to be depressed, higher incidence of lung and endometrial cancer. And even for physically active people, the risk of developing these cancers worsens with every 2 hours increase in sitting time. What's interesting is that when we're sitting on the LPL enzyme, which breaks down fat and uses it as energy, isn't activated. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Due to sedentary lifestyles, we do not siphon off these fats in the circulation process. Sitting 6 hours a day leads to earlier death, more fat stored, 90 to 95% reduction in removal of fats, more depression, a greater likelihood to develop various types of cancer. This is horrible. And what's horrible is that this is our world now. Should I read some more depressing facts? That's what I have right here.
No.
Increased this study estimates that 179,000 causes of cancer in the U.S. are due to inactivity. 49,000 breast cancer, 43,000 colon cancer, 37,000 prostate cancer, 12,000 endometrial cancer.
I need to stand up right now. I can't take.
Now this is interesting too, because a lot of people think that, well, if I'm sitting for 8-9 hours a day and I go to a gym and work out, then I'm going to feel that that's going to make everything okay. But it's not. It's not. You know, if you're sitting 8 hours a day and then go to the gym, it's better than not going to the gym, of course, but you're still suffering from sitting for all that time. All right. I mean, what a person needs to do, and and we'll talk about that in a sec. Stand. So we have to move more and sit less. So that's the question. Now that we know this, what will we do differently? To know is to know, to not know is to guess. So now you know how important it is not to be sitting all the time. Right? Second step is to sit less and have your spine checked and nervous system checked, because that's what the sitting is killing. Well, the pressure puts on our spine and nervous system. All right. And again, you can see when there's stress on the nervous system, how it affects all the organs and glands. Our nervous system determines our body's ability to function optimally for a lifetime. If we're sitting for 8, 9 hours a day, you can bet that your nervous system is not going to be functioning optimally. You need to have your spine checked regularly throughout your whole life. So diet and exercise are really important, but the nervous system controls everything. You know, when I was a first responder and somebody really hurt themselves, and made sure that their tongue wasn't stuck down their throat so they were breathing, need to breathe, right? Made sure that they weren't bleeding out, and we made sure that there wasn't a spinal cord injury. Because if something happens to their nervous system, people are in a lot of trouble. I mean, when you think about it, you could live without food for up to a month. You could live without water for up to a week, possibly. You could even live without air for 5 minutes. But once that nervous system is cut, that's the end. So it's choices in how we live. So what if we have the kind of job where we're at the computer all the time, what can we do that we're not sitting all the time?
You can stand.
Yeah. You could stand. You could create a standing desk. Kind of simple.
Well, that's what we have here. I
Right.
stand at least half the day because nobody has the desk.
Yeah. That's exactly what I did. I made sure that our computers were set so we were standing there. I have somewhere in here all these people in history who actually had standing desks. I remember one. I don't have it memorized and I can't find it right now. But actually, Benjamin Franklin was one of them.
Really?
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin used a standing desk. I think Albert Einstein did also.
I have a question, Dr. David.
Yeah.
When I was working in the office, I would sit on a exercise ball. How is that compared to standing and compared to sitting on in a regular chair?
Better, because with an exercise ball, you constantly have to kind of rebalance yourself. So there's a movement all the time, and the weight isn't just pushing down on your spine all day. If you are moving. You know, they also have those wobble seats that you put on a chair that keep you kind of moving. So that's definitely better, you know, but standing is better than that.
Better than that.
The other thing too is that we have one patient that has been coming to me for years and years with terrible chronic headaches. And she sits at her job for hours and hours of a stressful job. And we talked about this, and I said, you know, set an alarm, right? For every 15, 20 minutes just to get up and walk around a little bit and then come back. So she's done that. And she can't believe how much better she feels. She's shocked. Shocked. Just from getting up every 15, 20 minutes and walking around a little bit. And that's something that people could do too. I mean, that makes a huge difference. You know, now that you could buy these things on Amazon, so you can go back and forth. It's like a swivel. So you could sit and then stand up, sit, stand up too. All right. You know, so my question for everybody here, all right, is, do you have people that you're going to talk to about this?
Yes.
Maria!
I just met a girl, and suddenly that name will never be the same.
Sorry.
So this is really important information. And this is, you know, we're living in the society where people are killing themselves by sitting. So this information isn't only for you. This information is for everybody else in your life.
I have another question.
Sure.
What do you think of those? I was thinking of getting those 10,000 step pedometers.
Those
What do
Fit,
you think of those? Fitbit.
yeah, you know, I had a Fitbit, and I think it's a great thing, but for me, it was another thing to be like, get all OCD about.
Uh-huh. Right. I can imagine doing this. Like, I heard people going on a walk at like midnight because they didn't get their steps in. And
You know,
Yeah.
there's that, and then the other part is that is that the electromagnetics,
oh.
right? So that's a question.
Mm.
And I have a friend who's a chiropractor, and she muscle tests me to see if the electromagnetics that was constantly on me if my body was reacting to it. And it
Uh-huh.
was. So I just
Oh,
took it off and I never put it back on, and you know, that's
interesting.
true
Mm.
now. So that's something to think about too. You know,
Mm.
it's all electromagnetics there. So question, you know, it's a question. But you know, the best thing you could do is, you know, just create a standing desk.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've tried, and make sure your family's doing it too. You know, because like my son, it's hard. I try to get him to do it, and he doesn't want to stand all day.
Yeah.
You know, get a teenager, but this is important. It's important. Listen, all these workshops have been awesome, and everyone has something for everybody. All right. So please keep on coming to the workshops. I hope you got something from it. Please bring a friend or share the link with a friend. This will be recorded on YouTube. We're living in a society where people are dying from bad choices. And they don't know that they're making bad choices. So, you know, we're creating a situation with our spinal workshops where we're helping people make better choices. We're helping people make better choices. At least make them aware that it's possible. All right. It must be it's 7:04. So I'm sworn to. I should have been off at 7. I love you guys. Hopefully we'll be doing these live soon in the office, and we'll keep everybody socially distant. So we should be doing them live again soon, and we'll have them on Zoom, and we'll have them recorded. So there'll be 3 different possibilities of watching. Right? So share this with somebody. To get on the YouTube, just put Lester Chiropractic, and
No
you'll
space.
no space. And as you scroll down, you see all different kinds of things, but then you'll see the L in a purple circle. Click on that, and then you'll be able to subscribe, and you'll just see ours. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Night,
Good
David.
night.
Good night.
Bye, Bob.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Vic.
Bye-bye.